Have you at any point viewed as that the things in your pack could be obstructing your monetary achievement? Do you feel overpowered by monetary shortage in spite of your earnest attempts? Imagine a scenario in which a straightforward propensity change could welcome more overflow into your life. In this video, we will investigate how the things we convey with us consistently may be influencing our riches and overflow. By the end, you'll have a more clear comprehension of how to eliminate these blockages and welcome flourishing into your life. Make a point to watch until the end to find every one of the solutions you really want for a superior getting it, and remember to like and buy into our YouTube channel for more shrewd substance. We should begin by pondering why we frequently feel as we need something more cash. Large numbers of us feel as such in any event. When we buckle down, this feeling can emerge out of an outlook where we center around what we try not to have rather than what we truly do have. For instance, envision somebody who is continuously occupied and tired. At this point, won't ever appear to excel monetarily. Their consistent stress over not having enough can, as a matter of fact, make it harder to acquire riches. Buddha instructed that our considerations shape our existence by having an impact on our attitude. From shortage to overflow, we open ourselves to additional open doors and abundance. Next, ponder the stuff you convey in your sack. Consistently, mess can hinder the stream of positive energy, very much like mess in our brains can obstruct consistent discernment. Envision your pack loaded with old receipts, loosened up things, and change. This wreck can overload you both actually and intellectually. Buddha's lessons on non-connection help us to give up, to remember things we don't require. Thusly, we make space for positive energy and new open doors. Wiping out our packs and our psyches can account for new positive energy that draws in riches. Care is another incredible asset. Some of the time we don't understand how little things in our day-to-day routines influence our by and large prosperity and funds. Picture a bustling individual who doesn't focus on the messiness in their sack. This little oversight can lead to more serious issues like inclination, overpowered, and being less useful. Being careful assists us with improving decisions. Buddha instructed that everything is associated. By being aware of our decisions, we can make a positive wave impact on our funds. In this video, we will plunge more profound into these thoughts and give you common sense moves toward bring more overflow into your life. From ordinary pack cleaning to careful spending, each step will help you clear blockages and welcome thriving. Stay tuned to figure out how to change your relationship with cash by simplifying careful changes. One impression of monetary shortage a significant number of us frequently feel is that regardless of how hard we work, monetary overflow stays out of arrive. At this sensation of continuously being monetarily tied is known as the worldview limited by fear. It's a typical issue where individuals center more around what they need instead of what they have. For model, consider an individual who works indefatigably, however never appears to accomplish monetary soundness. This individual is continually stressed over cash, driving to stress and tension. This outlook can turn into an inevitable outcome where centering on shortage really forestalls riches from streaming into their life in the genuine world. This impression of monetary shortage can make huge issues. Individuals might feel caught in a pattern of procuring and spending without ever feeling fulfilled or secure. This inclination of need can influence their choices, prompting poor monetary decisions like overspending or taking on superfluous obligation. The pressure from this mentality can likewise influence one's well-being connections. Furthermore, in general prosperity, it's Fundamental to perceive this issue to begin making positive changes. One method for moving from a worldview limited by fear to one of overflow is through care. Includes being completely present and mindful of our viewpoints, sentiments, and environmental elements. By rehearsing care, we can start to see the negative thought designs that add to our impression of need. For instance, all things being equal, of continually stressing over not having enough cash, we can zero in on what we do have and be thankful for it. Appreciation can change our point of view and open the way to overflow. We should consider the tale of an individual who changed their life by altering their outlook. This individual continuously felt that they were not procuring enough in spite of buckling down. They frequently ended up speculation, I won't ever have sufficient cash. This negative reasoning made an inability to think straight that impeded their monetary advancement. Subsequent to learning about care and appreciation, they begun to move their concentration rather than harping on their monetary issues. They started to see the value in the little triumphs and valuable open doors in their life over the long haul. This have a significant impact on and mentality assisted them with seeing new open doors for pay and monetary development that they had recently ignored. Buddha's astuteness instructs us that our considerations shape our existence. He underlined the significance of the right outlook and care in accomplishing a satisfying life. By developing a mentality of overflow, we can draw in more certain encounters and valuable open doors. This doesn't mean disregarding monetary challenges, yet rather moving toward them with a quiet and receptive outlook. When we center on overflow, we become more innovative and clever in tracking down answers for our all in all. The impression of monetary shortage is a critical boundary to riches and overflow. By perceiving and tending to this mentality, we can begin to roll out certain improvements in our lives. Rehearsing careful and appreciation can assist us with moving our concentration from what we need to what we have, making the way for more noteworthy monetary success. Recollect our contemplations are strong, and by having an impact on our outlook, we can change our existence. The effect of individual effects on abundance. Have you at any point contemplated how the things you convey with you consistently could influence your monetary prosperity? Our own effects can have a huge effect on our abundance, frequently in manners we don't quickly see. Envision your sack filled with old receipts, loosened up things, and change. This messiness isn't simply physical, it can make mental mess that influences your capacity to draw in abundance. Mess in our lives can reflect mess to us. When we heft around superfluous things, it can cause us to feel scattered and overpowered. For instance, consider an individual whose pack is consistently a wreck. They could invest additional energy looking for things, feeling disappointed and diverted. This disruption can spill over into different region of their life, including their funds. By holding on to things we don't require, we make blockages that forestall positive energy. Also, overflow from streaming into our experiences. Buddha's lessons on non-connection help us to give up, to remember things that never again serve us. By rehearsing non-connection, we can liberate ourselves from the weight of conveying an excess of. This doesn't mean we need to dispose of everything, except rather we ought to be aware of what we keep. Envision an individual who clears out their pack routinely, just keeping what is essential and important. This training can lead to a sensation of daintiness and clearness, making it more straightforward to zero in on significant monetary objectives. Care is key in evaluating our possessions. When we carve out opportunity to consider what cautiously we convey with us, we can improve choices about what to keep and what to relinquish. For example, an individual may find that by consistently clearing out their sack, they feel more coordinated and in control. This feeling of control can stretch out to their monetary life, where they begin to deal with their cash more actually and pursue better decisions. We should check out at an account of somebody who changed their monetary life By cleaning up this individual used to convey a weighty pack loaded up with pointless things they felt anxious and overpowered, frequently losing significant things in the wreck. In the wake of finding out about the advantages of cleaning up, they chosen to wipe out their sack. They got free of old receipts, broken things, and anything that wasn't helpful. This straightforward demonstration of cleaning their pack caused them to feel lighter and more engaged. They took note that their funds began to get to the next level as they turned out to be more aware of their ways of managing money. Buddha's insight instructs us that our outer climate mirrors our inside state. By keeping our own space coordinated and free of mess, we can make a positive and welcoming space for overflow. This act of care, what's more, non-connection, can assist us with eliminating blockages and open up to new open doors. Recall the things we convey with us consistently can either help us push ahead or hold us back. By being aware of our assets, we can make way to monetary flourishing, and assuming this is checking out to you. Remember to like and buy into our Buddhism reasoning bits of knowledge channel. Care and interconnectedness. Care is an amazing asset that can change our lives, particularly with regards to our finances. Being careful means being completely present and mindful of our viewpoints, sentiments, and activities. When we practice care, we can see the associations between our day-to-day decisions and their influence on our monetary prosperity. This mindfulness can assist us with improving choices and welcome more overflow into our lives. Frequently we go through our day-to-day schedules without giving a lot of consideration to the little subtleties. This absence of mindfulness can prompt propensities that block our monetary development. For instance, a bustling proficient may hurry during their time, not seeing how their ways of managing money include they may purchase things they don't require or neglect to deal with their funds cautiously. This absence of care can make monetary stress and thwart their capacity to save. Also contribute admirably by turning out to be more careful. We can bring an end to these propensities and go with decision that help our monetary objectives. One critical part of care is understanding the interconnectedness of everything. Buddha instructed that all that in our lives is associated, our contemplations, activities, and climate, all impact one another. At the point when we are aware of this interconnectedness, we can perceive how little changes can immensely affect our funds. For instance, keeping our individual space coordinated can prompt a more clear psyche, which thus can help us improve monetary choices. By being aware of the associations between our activities and their results, we can make a more prosperous and satisfying life. An extraordinary method for rehearsing care is through reflection. Contemplation assists us with slow bringing down. Furthermore, center around the current second. It permits us to notice our contemplations and sentiments without judgment. By pondering consistently, we can create a more profound consciousness of our inward state and how it influences our external world. How about we consider the account of somebody who utilized care to work on their monetary circumstance. This individual used to feel continually worried about cash, generally agonizing over bills and costs. They chose to begin rehearsing care and reflection by requiring a couple of moments each day to think and consider their funds. They started to see their ways of managing money and how they could further develop them. They began making more insightful decisions. For example, saving a part of their pay and cutting superfluous costs. This careful methodology made a difference. Them diminish monetary pressure and construct a safer future. Buddha's insight instructs us that by being careful and perceiving the interconnectedness of everything, we can change our lives. By focusing on our viewpoints and activities, we can make positive changes that help Our monetary prosperity care assists us with seeing the greater picture and comprehend how our everyday decisions influence our generally speaking flourishing. By integrating care into our lives, we can welcome more overflow and bliss into our excursion. 4 Energy marks of possessions. Have you at any point felt an unexpected change in your state of mind or energy by simply contacting an item or going into a room? This happens in light of the fact that everything around us conveys an energy signature. The things we keep in our lives, remembering those for our sacks, can impact our prosperity. What's more, monetary flourishing through their energy. Each article holds energy in light of its set of experiences and our sentiments towards it. Ponder a most loved piece of gems that gives you pleasure each time you wear it. Presently consider an old receipt folded at the lower part of your pack, helping to remember an undesirable buy. These things, however little, convey energies that affect your mindset and attitude. By understanding also dealing with these energy marks, we can establish a more sure climate that upholds our monetary objectives. Negative energy can amass in like manner things we convey consistently. For example, broken things can represent incomplete business or irritating issues. Free change, frequently neglected, can address dissipated assets, and absence of consideration regarding funds. Marked product could convey the energy of industrialism and realism. By getting out these negative energies, we can account for positive elevating energies that draw and overflow. One method for dealing with these energy marks is through careful cleaning, also arranging consistently, purging your sack. Also, surveying everything can help you choose what to keep and what to give up. For instance, as opposed to letting receipts stack up, audit and arrange them. In the event that they are not generally required, discard them appropriately. Fix or dispose of broken things to dispense with the negative energy they convey. Assemble spare change and put it in a assigned place. By doing this, you can guarantee that the things you convey support a positive and plentiful outlook. We should check out at an account of somebody who changed their life by getting at the energy marks of their effects. This individual generally felt depleted and unmotivated, particularly at work. They understood their sack was filled with old, loosened up things and changed. Subsequent to finding out about energy marks, they chose to clear out their sack. They eliminated all that felt negative or pointless and just kept things that given them pleasure or served an unmistakable reason. This little change caused them to feel lighter and more sure. Over the long run, they seen their work execution gotten to the next level. Furthermore, they felt more certain about making do their funds. Buddha's insight instructs us about the significance of our climate in molding our encounters. By being aware of the energy marks of our effects, we can make a space that upholds our prosperity and monetary proofs. Flourishing, eliminating negative energies, also welcoming positive ones, assists us with remaining centered, spurred, and open to open doors. Recollect the things we convey with us consistently can influence our mindset, attitude, and monetary accomplishment. By being aware of these energy marks, we can make an amicable and plentiful taking everything into account. The energy marks of our effects assume an essential part in our blade monetary prosperity. By understanding and dealing with these energies, we can make a positive climate that draws in overflow. Consistently cleaning and arranging our individual space can assist us with eliminating negative energies and welcome positive ones. This training established in care permits us to adjust our outer climate with our inward objectives, clearing the way for monetary flourishing and by and large prosperity. Furthermore, on the off chance that this is sounding good to you, don't neglect to like and buy into our Buddhism Reasoning channel. 5 Adverse consequences of normal things. In this segment, we'll investigate how the ordinary things we convey can adversely influence our monetary. However, Prosperity. These normal things, apparently innocuous, can convey negative energy that impedes the progression of overflow into our lives. By understanding and tending to these effects, we can make a more sure climate for monetary development. Consider old receipts. Many individuals convey around receipts without thinking a lot about them. These bits of paper frequently help us to remember past costs, now and then pointless or lamented buys. They convey the energy of those exchanges, which can overload us. Envision somebody whose sack is jumbled with old receipts from different buys. Each time they see or contact these receipts, they may unwittingly remember the pressure or lament related with those costs. By routinely getting out these receipts, we can deliver the negative energy and make space for new. Certain monetary encounters. Broken things are another normal offender. Hauling around broken things can represent irritating issues also. Incomplete business. This can make a feeling of stagnation and ruin our progress. For instance, an individual could keep a messed up pen or a broke telephone case in their pack. These things, however little, can help them to remember assignments they haven't finished or issues they haven't tackled. This can make an inconspicuous, however consistent sensation of being stayed. By fixing or disposing of broken things, we can get out this stale energy and account for new. Open doors. Spare change is frequently ignored, however can likewise have a negative influence. Dissipated coins in the lower part of a pack can represent dispersed assets. What's more, an absence of monetary concentration. For occasion, somebody could have a small bunch of coins moving around in their sack, neglected and unused. This can mirror a more extensive propensity for not focusing on modest quantities of cash, which can add up over the long run. By social affair and putting together spare change, we can foster an outlook of esteeming and dealing with every one of our assets successfully. Dealing with our effects is vital, as ordinary things can adversely influence our monetary prosperity, and normal things, however apparently innocuous, can convey negative energy that obstructs the stream of overflow into our lives. By understanding and tending to these influences, we can make a more certain climate for monetary development. Marked stock, particularly things we get free of charge, can convey the energy of industrialism and realism. These things frequently mess our space without adding genuine incentive for model. An individual could have a few special things in their sack: pens, keychains, or notebooks with organization logos. While these things can helpful, have such a large number of them can add to a jumbled and disrupted climate. By being specific about what marked things we keep, we can diminish mess and center around things that genuinely serve our needs. Food coverings and bundling can additionally convey negative energy. These things frequently amass without us understanding it, adding to the messiness in our packs. Envision somebody who frequently eats in a hurry, furthermore throws food coverings into their sack. After some time, these coverings can develop, making a wreck and a feeling of disregard. By discarding food coverings and bundling speedily, we can keep a perfect and coordinated space which upholds a reasonable and centered mind. Buddhist lessons on overflow. Buddhist lessons offer significant insight on accomplishing overflow, not simply in material abundance, however in all parts of life. These lessons guide us to comprehend the nature of overflow through standards like temporariness, care, liberality, non-connection, and interconnectedness. By applying these standards, we can welcome thriving and satisfaction into our lives. Fleetingness is a key Buddhist idea. It instructs us that everything is in a steady condition of change. This understanding assists us with seeing that our monetary circumstance isn't fixed and can improve from model. Assuming we are confronting monetary challenges, realizing that this state is brief can give trust and motivation. We can make proactive moves to that's what advance our circumstance. Knowing change is conceivable, even little changes in our propensities and perspectives can prompt Critical enhancements over the long-haul care is one more key: educating by being completely present and mindful of our considerations and activities. We can improve monetary choices. For example, when we practice careful spending, we become more aware of our buys and keep away from superfluous costs. This mindfulness assists us with saving cash and designate our assets more successfully. Care likewise stretches out to how we deal with our funds, empowering us to consistently audit our spending plan and change our ways of managing money to line up with our objectives. Rehearsing care in our day-to-day routines can assist us with recognizing inefficient propensities and supplant them with more useful ones. Liberality is a foundation of Buddhist practice. By providing for others, we develop a feeling of overflow and appreciation. This doesn't mean we need to give huge amounts of cash. Indeed, even little thoughtful gestures can make a positive effect. For instance, giving a piece of our pay or chipping in our time can assist us with feeling more associated to our local area and less centered around our own monetary concerns. Liberality makes a pattern of positive energy that can draw in more overflow into our lives. At the point when we give unreservedly, we open ourselves to get more. Consequently, whether it's through open doors, kinships, or a feeling of inward harmony, non-connection is significant for accomplishing genuine overflow. Buddha instructed that connection to material belongings and abundance can lead to enduring. When we let go of our connection to cash, we free ourselves from the nervousness and stress that frequently go with monetary worries. For example, rather than continually agonizing over gathering abundance, we can zero in on appreciating what we have and offering it to others. This change in context can prompt a more satisfying and content life. Giving up of the need to control each monetary result can likewise assist us with embracing the stream of overflow. All the more normally, interconnectedness is the comprehension that everything is connected. Our activities, considerations, contemplations, and climate impact each other. By perceiving this, we perceive how our decisions influence our monetary prosperity. For instance, making an amicable living space can work on our psychological lucidity and efficiency, prompting better monetary choices. When we treat others with thoughtfulness and regard, we fabricate strong connections that can open ways to new valuable open doors and assets. Understanding interconnectedness can assist us with seeing the greater picture and settle on decisions that advantage both ourselves as well as other people. We should consider an account of somebody who applied these Buddhist lessons to accomplish overflow. This individual used to battle with monetary pressure and felt continually overpowered. They began by embracing fleetingness, advising themselves that their circumstance could further develop. They drilled care by following their costs and making insightful spending decisions. Liberality turned into an ordinary part of their life as they chipped in at a nearby cause. They likewise dealt with non-connection, zeroing in on the delights of straightforward living as opposed to gathering abundance. At last, they supported interconnectedness by making a serene home climate and building solid connections. Over the long haul, they saw a huge improvement in their monetary circumstance and, generally speaking, satisfaction. Buddha's lessons give a comprehensive way to deal with accomplishing overflow by consolidating standards like temporariness, care, liberality, non-connection, and interconnectedness. We can make a daily existence loaded up with flourishing. Also, satisfaction. These lessons remind us that genuine abundance isn't just about cash, be that as it may, about living a fair and significant life. By following these standards, we can welcome more overflow into our lives and offer it with those around us and assuming that this is appearing to be legit to you. Remember to like and buy into our channel. 7 Reasonable Strides for Welcoming Overflow. Welcoming overflow into our lives requires functional advances that line up with careful living and Buddhist standards. By taking little deliberate activities, we can establish a climate that upholds monetary flourishing and generally prosperity. Normal pack cleaning is one of those activities. Frequently we haul around superfluous things that mess our space and psyche. By discharging our sacks consistently, we can get out what we don't need and keep just what is fundamental. Envision the distinction it makes to have a sack that is coordinated, also liberated from mess. This straightforward demonstration decreases pressure and causes us to feel more in control. It likewise represents relinquishing of the past and accounting for new valuable open doors. Careful receipt. The executive's receipts can stack up and help us to remember past costs, which may not necessarily in all cases be wonderful. By investigating receipts consistently, we can monitor our spending and make more educated monetary choices. This assists us with becoming mindful of our ways of managing money and find regions where we can set aside cash. For example, you may notice that you are spending a lot on trivial things and choose to cut back. This mindfulness can prompt better planning and monetary preparation. Fixing or supplanting broken things. Conveying broken things can represent irritating issues and stale energy. For instance, a wrecked zipper on a sack or a broke telephone screen can make disappointment and gloomy sentiments each time we use them. By fixing or supplanting these things, we can wipe out wellsprings of stress and welcome positive energy. This demonstration of dealing with our things likewise reflects taking care of oneself and regard for our assets. Merging spare change. Spare coins dissipated in our packs can address dissipated monetary energy. By assembling and putting together this change, we can make a propensity for esteeming even the littlest measures of cash. You may begin by utilizing a little pea pocket to keep every one of your coins in a single put. Over the long haul, this can add up and be put to all the more likely use, like putting something aside for something significant or giving to a noble motivation. Careful utilization. This includes monitoring what we purchase and why we get it rather than creating imprudent buys. We can take a second to consider assuming a thing is genuinely essential and useful. This training assists us with keeping away from mess and spotlight on higher standards without compromise. For instance, rather than purchasing a few modest things that we don't actually require, we can contribute in one great thing that will endure longer and serve us better. Careful utilization additionally implies being cognizant of the natural and moral effect of our buys, supporting organizations that line up with our qualities. We should consider an account of somebody who applied these common sense moves toward welcome overflow. This individual used to feel overpowered by mess and monetary stress. They began by clearing out their sack routinely, which caused them to feel lighter, and that's just the beginning. Coordinated, they started exploring their receipts week by week, which assisted them with becoming more mindful of their ways of managing money. They fixed broken things and saw how it worked on their mindset and energy. They accumulated their spare change and began saving it for exceptional treats. At last they rehearsed careful utilization, picking higher standards when in doubt, and supporting moral organizations. Over the long haul, these little changes made a major contrast. They felt more in charge of their funds and more associated with their qualities. Buddha's lessons remind us that little careful activities can lead to huge changes. By taking common sense advances like customary pack cleaning Careful receipt the board fixing broken things consolidating spare change and careful utilization we can establish a climate that welcomes overflow. These practices assist us with remaining coordinated, lessen pressure and improve monetary choices, adjusting our activities with our qualities, making ready for a prosperous and satisfying life. An individual story representing change. To comprehend how really these practices can change your life, allow me to share an individual story of change. This story features the force of care, association, and deliberate living in making monetary prosperity and in general bliss. Once I thought of myself as continually worried about my funds and overpowered by the mess in my life. My sack was generally loaded up with arbitrary things, old receipts also. Broken things that simply added to my tension. I chose to take little, all careful moves toward change my circumstance. First, I began clearing out my sack each week. This basic demonstration of sorting out my effects made a tremendous contrast. I felt more in charge and less pushed. Next, I started surveying my receipts routinely. This assisted me with becoming more mindful of my ways of managing money and recognize regions where I could scale back. I additionally set aside some margin to fix or supplant broken things, which dispensed with wellsprings of disappointment and brought positive energy into my life. Uniting spare change was another little, however significant, change. I begun keeping every one of my coins in a little pocket and understood that even little measures of cash could amount to something critical. This training instructed me to esteem each asset I had. At long last, I embraced careful utilization. Prior to making any buy, I would inquire as to whether the thing was genuinely essential and advantageous. This aided me keep away from hasty purchases and spotlight on quality over amount. I likewise made a cognizant work to help moral organizations that lined up with my qualities. After some time, these little changes changed my life. I felt more coordinated, less pushed, and more in charge of my funds. I had the option to set aside cash and use it for things that genuinely made a difference to me. Above all, I felt more associated with my qualities, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Satisfied in my day-to-day routine, Buddha's lessons on care and purposeful living gave the establishment to these significantly impacts. Developing an outlook of overflow. Developing a mentality of overflow is pivotal for drawing in success and satisfaction into our lives. Our contemplations and perspectives play a critical job in forming our existence. By zeroing in on an overflow as opposed to shortage, we can change our lives and welcome positive encounters. Rehearsing appreciation shifts our concentration from what we need to what we have. When we consistently recognize and value the beneficial things in our lives, we make a positive energy that draws in additional beneficial things. For instance, keeping an appreciation diary can be a strong practice. Every day record of barely any things you are appreciative for. This basic propensity can assist you with keeping up with an inspirational perspective and encourage a feeling of overflow. You may be shocked at how much you must be appreciative for once you begin focusing. Perception is one more integral asset for developing an overflow attitude. By envisioning ourselves accomplishing our objectives and living a prosperous life, we can build up positive convictions and ways of behaving. Perception assists us with centering us on our ideal results and spurs us to make the vital moves to accomplish them. For example, take a couple minutes every day to shut your eyes and envision yourself prevailing in your monetary objectives. Envision the sensations of bliss and satisfaction that accompany this achievement. This training can assist you with remaining propelled and certain about your excursion towards overflow. Certifications Positive certifications are proclamations that build up our objectives and values. By rehashing assertions consistently, we can reconstruct our psyche brain to have faith in our capacity to accomplish overflow. For instance, you could say to yourself, "I'm available to getting overflow," or "I'm fit for accomplishing my monetary objectives." These assertions can assist you with beating self-question and keep an uplifting outlook. The more you rehash them, the more they become imbued in your mentality. Continuously moving your viewpoint from shortage to overflow. In our excursion together, we have investigated numerous ways of welcoming overflow into our lives. We began by taking a gander at how our considerations and insights can make sensations of shortage. By moving our mentality to center around overflow, we open ourselves up to additional opportunities and open doors. We gain proficiency with the significance of keeping our own space, particularly our packs, clean and coordinated. This straightforward demonstration can lessen stress and cause us to feel more in charge. We additionally discussed how our possessions convey energy. By being aware of what we convey, we can guarantee that our current circumstance upholds our monetary prosperity and generally genuine serenity. Care and interconnectedness are critical to understanding how little activities can have a major effect. By being available and mindful, we can improve monetary choices and make a more agreeable life. We additionally examined viable advances like ordinary pack cleaning, making due receipts, fixing broken things, solidifying spare change, and rehearsing careful utilization. These activities assist us with remaining coordinated, decrease pressure, and improve monetary decisions. An individual story delineated how these practices can lead to critical upgrades in our lives. By applying these means, we can change mayhem into request and welcome more overflow. This shows that these progressions are hypothetical, as well as can have a genuine positive effect on our regular routines. At long last, we discussed developing an attitude of overflow. Rehearses like appreciation, representation, certifications, encircling ourselves with positive impacts, and making a roused move are incredible assets. These means assist us with remaining positive, persuaded, and on target to accomplishing our objectives. They likewise advise us that overflow isn't just about cash, however, about living a satisfying and healthy lifestyle. Buddhist lessons advise us that our considerations shape our existence. By making little careful changes, we can make a daily existence loaded up with thriving and euphoria. Embracing these practices assists us with adjusting our activities with our qualities, preparing for a satisfying and plentiful life. Thank you for going along with us on this excursion. Recollect, little advances can prompt large changes. Continue to rehearse care, stay positive, and welcome overflow into your coexistence. We can make a world full of success and satisfaction. And if this is sounding good to you, remember to like and buy into our channel.